My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tec Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tec Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tec Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
After 4 months of planning and preparation, the Australian FX-Superbike Championship is back and ready for another action-packed year of racing. Hello, I'm Lance Robertson and welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park for round 1. And with this new season comes a new naming rights sponsor in Hi-Tec Oils, and we welcome them on board for 2018. Today we'll be bringing you all the on-track warfare from the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, the Matris Dampers Supersports and Amsport 600s, and the Stars of Tomorrow standalone race. First up, we have the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, and in the off-season there's been some key changes with a number of teams, notably the @1 Pro Race Suits team. With Lucas Vitali moving on to other opportunities, the door has opened for 2017 Matris Dampers Supersport champion Sam Lambert to join Dominic de Leon's team. And Becky Lamb caught up with Sam earlier today.
Sammy Lambert, 2017 was a massive year for you. First in the Matris Dampers Supersport class, and this year you're stepping up. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Winning that championship really helped me out, and with sponsors and team opportunities, and it was my first national win, so it was good. We're really stoked with it, and joining the @1 racing team, it's been really welcoming. I've come in and these guys have been brilliant. I've been on the bike. It's my second time on their bike, and we've just come out with the whole shot and got pole position and got a third and a first in the races yesterday, so it was really good.
So take us through the difference between the bikes from last year to this year. What's been a bit of a struggle and a change for you?
It's mainly adapting to the Superbike riding style because I've been on the 600 for so long. Just picking the bike up and running out to the edge of the circuit as much as possible, and having the wheels spinning as the least time as possible is giving us the drive, and that's what we're working on.
Well, what a great opportunity for Sam Lambert to join the @1 Pro Race Suits team, and already he's making a strong impression as he pursues championship glory in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. We've already had the opening race contested earlier today, so whilst the riders are making their way out for the start of race 2, let's have a look at what happened in race 1. Having shared race wins with Simon Galloway in the Saturday program, Sam Lambert got a clear jump from his rivals at the commencement of the opening Sunday race. Galloway slotted into second, whilst Brendan McIntyre quickly recovered from a slow start to be third by turn 2, all whilst battling with Ryan Yanko in the opening stages. Lambert started to build a small cushion as the race settled into a pattern, whilst behind him McIntyre cleared away from Yanko and challenged Galloway for second place, passing him with ease at Matris Dampers turn 6. Further down the pack there was a three-way battle brewing between Chris Quinn, Brett Kitchen and Yanni Shaw, the latter moving into the Superbike class after a successful tenure in the 400 Supersports. As the race drew to a close, McIntyre quickly ate away at Lambert's comfortable margin, and with a few laps to go at Bike Biz turn 2, he pounced on a mistake and slotted into the lead. The pair would duel for the next few corners until the Suzuki rider took command at turn 5. From there, McIntyre would be untouchable, taking his first win for the season from Lambert, with Galloway a creditable third. So here's how they'll line up for race 2. The front row consists of McIntyre, Lambert and Galloway, with Tim Griffith, Ryan Yanko and Chris Quinn occupying row 2. Row 3 sees Yanni Shaw, Andrew Thompson and Michael Edwards, whilst Hamish McMurray, Brett Kitchen and Will Stewart fill out the 4th row. Shane Irwin and Daniel Ayash complete the field on row 5.
Almost ready for a start here
Red flag being shown to the right is now being taken away, indicating all eyes on the red lights at the start.
Bikehagel.com.au, Superbike Form Extreme C&D.
Off from the start they go, getting the best of it there by the looks of it was Sam Lambert, and he occupies P1 going through turn 1 on lap 1 of this 7-lap journey as part and parcel of the second race on this Sunday program of the Bikehagel.com.au Superbikes.
Yes, Brendan McIntyre up in the second spot, went a little wide out of bikebiz.com.au, but unfortunately for him didn't unduly impede his forward progress, so he's still there in second place. You've got a lot of pressure behind him. Is that Yanko there?
Yes, it is Ryan Yanko.
Yep.
Ryan Yanko in third place at the moment. He takes a much narrower entrance into turn 5 there than McIntyre and indeed Sam Lambert. But Lambert it is that leads them up over the top of the hill into the Matris suspension for the first time. Brendan McIntyre very close in second place. Third place to Ryan Yanko. Simon Galloway not that far away. We have then Chris Quinn, Tim Griffith and Yanni Shaw up into 7th.
So down they come into races.world, and our leader is Sam Lambert on 54. Brendan McIntyre on 2 is in second place. Ryan Yanko not that far behind him, 2 or 3 bike lengths back behind Brendan McIntyre in third, and Simon Galloway is in fourth. They come down through Shark Leathers for the first of their 7 laps, and it's a good lead to Sam Lambert. McIntyre right there with him, and Yanko in third.
I'm a little bit disappointed with the start of Tim Griffith. He was leading after 3 victories or 75 points worth yesterday, and it's a bit different conditions here today, but it's all about Sam Lambert, McIntyre, Yanko, Galloway, Quinn, Griffith, Thompson, Shaw, Edwards, Kitchen, McMurray, Stewart and Irwin at the end of lap 1, beginning lap 2 of 7.
Down into bikebiz.com.au, and it is still Sam Lambert, inching away slightly from Brendan at this early stage, and Brendan McIntyre in turn is getting away from Yanko. Galloway's closing in a little bit on Yanko. Then we've got Quinn, Griffith, Thompson, Shaw, Edwards and Kitchen, the top 10.
I think it's all about preservation of tyres at this stage, Dave. We heard from most of the race interviews with Becky Lamb down there in all of the categories that conditions are conducive to abrasive more so than the opposite on tyres, and tyre management is going to be very, very important, especially in preserving your best rubber possible for race 3 later on this afternoon.
Yes, unlike yesterday in the bikehagel.com.au Superbikes, they had 2 races. Today they've got 3, so they've got an extra race under to put under their belts, and an extra 7 laps. So yes, tyre conservation is the key.
Brett Kitchen just a little bit further back there in 10th place. The last of those 3 riders on screen heading out of turn 9, and for the rundown races.world back straight heading into Shark Leathers.
Good. Lambert still in front of McIntyre, 0.5 of a second in front, so there's not much of a gap, although on the track it's a fairly substantial gap. But to say it like that, 0.5 a second, it seems nothing, but on a racetrack it's a lot to make up. Still Lambert leading down the end of the Hi-Tec oil straight. McIntyre in second spot as they come down through bikebiz.com.au. Heel hard left and then start the climb up the hill, and it is still Lambert leading McIntyre. Up now, about to take the run over the top of bikehagel.com.au hill and then down into Dunlop. It is still Lambert, McIntyre, Yanko, but right on Yanko's back wheel is Simon Galloway.
Heading out of turn 4 into turn 5. Both of these riders just sussing each other out, Dave. They don't need to do too much at this early stage. Lap 3 of 7. Still more than half a race distance to go at this stage. You can see McIntyre just getting a little bit unsteady under power. Heading out of turn 6, Matris suspension for the run around shock treatment hill, and down into turn 9, the beginning of the run down the races.world back straight.
Yeah, McIntyre just seems to be getting a little closer there. Close that gap down just a little bit, but Lambert is still the rider to catch down through Shark Leathers. The 2 right-hand corners were a little bit unstable at the back there, wasn't it? That bump that you were talking about, Lance, that he may have gotten into.
And also a bit of quick shifting going on there, I think, as well.
Yep.
Trying to make sure that he doesn't spin that tyre up, light the tyre up and excessively used too much rubber. Here comes McIntyre. He tried to slipstream Lambert that time, unable to get his nose effectively close enough up the inside at the beginning of turn 1. Tries for the run down the inside into turn 2, into the braking area. There is a gap there. Both of them being very tentative, being pushed a little bit wide. Brendan McIntyre, the Western Motorcycles 7 Friday Rick Pobjoy Suzuki, has managed to get up the inside of Sam Lambert on board his At1 Pro Race Suits BC Performance Moto Hub Silkaline Liquid Performance Hell Australia Kawasaki ZX-10R. But Lambert, you've got the sense that he's not going to give up the chase that easily.
He is not going anywhere, Lance, that is for sure. That was a nice pass from McIntyre. Hats off to him for that one. Held the inside line. He could see that there was going to be a gap. Lambert was going to open up a gap for him coming into Bike Biz.
Let's turn our attention to Simon Galloway, who is there in 3rd place with Tim Griffith and Ryan Yanko not that far behind, as our race leaders go side by side, swapping leather brands, rubbing fairings, and having a great deal of fun as they head out of bikebiz.com.au for the run around the right-hander and leading up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au hill, and for the run down into Dunlop's turn 4 and 5.
Yeah, that was a bit ambitious, I think, by Sam. I think he knew it too. I think he was just trying to put a bit of pressure on Brendan then, but Brendan's got a wise head. He's been around a long time. He knew what was coming and managed to sway and hold onto the lead, but he knows that he's got a race on his hands with Lambert. He's going to come back strong at him.
Well, McIntyre did it to Lambert on the previous lap in exactly the same manner, so I guess it's a bit of tit for tat going on there. And why not? It makes the racing very interesting.
Makes it interesting for them too, Lance. Now on the inside at races.world, Lambert, he is trying anything and everything to try and get past. Now he's switched to the outside, but Brendan McIntyre not leaving a gap there as they come down through races.world into Shark Leathers. McIntyre, they're on lap 5 of 7, so there's still 2 to go. There's still plenty of racing out there. Lambert is certainly by no means a shot duck, so to speak, as far as a potential race win is concerned.
Well, Tim Griffith, Ryan Yanko and Simon Galloway haven't given up the chase for 3rd placing. There's no doubt about that. As a little bit further back, we've got Edwards and Quinn battling it out for 8th and 9th placing. Quinn on board machine number 82, doing a great job there on the Addicted to Track YRD Yamaha R1. As McIntyre now is under threat, heading down into bikebiz.com.au, but he's not going to give it up. He's rubbing his shoulders around the outside, tried to lean on Lambert there and forced the issue to get the inside run through this right-hander and couldn't do it. Well done, Lambert, and well done, McIntyre as well, giving each other the racing room they required.
Yes, that time it was Brendan McIntyre's turn to sit up, and nothing he could do. Lambert just a well-judged pass through there. And now McIntyre's the one that's got to do the chasing. Going to take the inside line, not quite.
Can't do it. This is the final lap. Watch for McIntyre to get good drive out of here and run up the inside of Lambert and chuck a Lambert on Lambert like he did last time on McIntyre. Oh, he's gone too wide. He's forced them both wide. Lambert comes back up the inside. McIntyre, a bit of case of deja vu. He ran a little bit too deep there. Unfortunately, forced the issue a little bit too much. Will he be able to come back strongly now down into turn number 4, up the inside of Lambert? He can't, almost gets his nose chopped off. This is Dunlop turn 4, Dunlop turn 5. To coin a phrase, they need to tread carefully between those two corners. There's no doubt about that. For the rise and the run up over the top into Matris suspension. McIntyre gets the run. He's been strong there all weekend long. Can he hold the racing line, or will Lambert get the drive up the inside through turn 8? Around the back of Shock Treatment Hill they come. Whose nose will poke out in front? Lambert on the inside, McIntyre on the outside. McIntyre gets the line down into turn 9. Can he keep it tight enough, close enough for the rundown races.world.com? Back straight into the final turns for the final time. Shark Leathers turns 11 and 12. It's all about Brendan McIntyre being in front and sustaining the pressure out of the seat momentarily. This is true grit stuff. Again, trying to get the power down to the ground on the Suzuki. Lambert, will he slipstream him down the straight, down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, checkered flag on display. Lambert breaks the inside. Does he get it? Yes, he does. By 0.06 0.026 of a second. Lambert slipstreaming to perfection. McIntyre in second and Galloway in third. What a cracking final lap.
Absolutely fantastic.
Let's recap the results by the narrowest of margins. The Kawasaki of Sam Lambert, victorious ahead of the Suzuki of Brendan McIntyre. And then a fair way back, you've got to say, Simon Galloway in third. Tim Griffith, Ryan Yanko up into fifth place. Well done to him. Andrew Thompson, Brett Kitchen, Chris Quinn, Yarny Shaw, another creditable top 10 finish in his debut on a 1000cc Superbike. Hamish McMurray rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, I just thought I'd try and control the race. I knew my tyres were starting to get pretty shagged because of the hot weather, and with all that oil down on the track, it was pretty tricky trying to choose all the lines. But I was leading the races always really hard because you've got to try and judge what the pace is going to be at. So I tried to push the best as I could, and luckily it came off. But Brendan put up a really good fight, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out.
Turn 2, that would have been interesting watching. I think some of it put a move on down under there, under Sam, and to his credit, he's got good perception of what's around him, which is a good thing to have, and I give that back to him. So we were able to do some close stuff, and it'd be as safe as it can be.
Yeah, well, that's always the plan. I just thought if I could stay pretty consistent somewhere and behind them, if they make a mistake, I might be able to capitalise. But like I said, I lost that little bit of a toe straight off the bat. There's always the next one, and I still got a smile on my face.
So with one race remaining, it's anyone's for the taking in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. We'll see what happens later in the show, but join us on the other side of this break for the Matris Dampers Supersports and Amsport 600s, along with the Stars of Tomorrow. Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park for our opening round coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship for 2018. As we mentioned at the head of the program, we welcome Hi-Tec Oils to the series as the naming rights partner for this season, and timing is perfect for this proudly Australian-owned company as it enters the motorcycle lubricants market. Becky Lamb is down in pit lane with the Managing Director of Hi-Tec Oils, George Gambino.
George, we want to have a chat to you today about Hi-Tec Oils and how fantastic of a product they is. Tell us why Hi-Tec decided to partnership with the Superbikes this weekend.
Well, we've actually been in the industrial area for a long time with products and stuff, and we've just now gone into the motorcycle world, and hence this is a good fit for Hi-Tec Oils to start promoting our products. So we have a couple of products coming out now, which is Fast 4 and Fast 2, which is a trademark now, so now it's a matter of just getting our name out there in the motorcycle industry.
So take us through some of the key products that you have on offer for motorbike races.
Well, we're starting to grow our range, so we have the basic range now for Fast 4 and Fast 2, which is for 4-stroke motorcycles and 2-stroke motorcycles. We're just developing a chain lube now for the motorcycle market, so it's going to progress. We normally grow our range as we learn what's going on in the industry.
And supply and demand for exactly what you need, right?
Exactly what we want.
We thank George and his hard-working team at Hi-Tec Oils for their support for the new season, and you can buy their new motorcycle range from all good independent automotive stores. Right now we have the Stars of Tomorrow standalone race, which is open to all C and D grade riders competing in the Australian FX Superbike Championship, and has been a popular addition to the schedule since it began in 2016. So let's have a look at the grid for this 6-lap race. Tim Griffith will start off the front row from pole ahead of Joel Rhodes and Simon Spicat. Row 2 has Mark Nassif, Lee Appleby and Hamish McMurray. Roger Berman will head up the third row alongside Mary Molina and Hayden Kinman. Whilst on the fourth row we have Baran Colpin, Brooke Ernest and Daniel McCartan. Row 5 has Luke Ruckley, Shane Irwin and Aaron Breesy. And on the sixth row we have Aaron Smith, Craig Masters and Matthew Franco. In the starter's hands, he walks past our pole sitter Tim Griffith. This is the C&D grade Stars of Tomorrow. The second time on the weekend, the first time today, and it was Joel Rhodes who got the whole shot and barnstorms his way into the lead at the end of the Hi-Tec Oils main straight.
Yes, a very good start from him, Lance, but also following out, was that Daniel Ash that
yes,
was tucked in there in second spot as they come down into bikebiz.com.au for the first time. A couple of riders at the back of the field going a little wide, but everyone has successfully gotten through that very tricky Bikebiz corner and now head up towards bikehaggle.com.au bridge.
Over the top, and it is Joel Rhodes that's leading Tim Griffith in second. Hamish McMurray up into third place, doing a good job. Mary Molina in fourth. Then we have McCain, Spickack, Smith, Masters, Mahone, Appleby, Fairley, Irwin and Chapman rounding up the top 13, bearing in mind it's only 6 corners old.
Yes, and a good start there by Mary Molina.
Yes.
In the fourth on machine number 93. Put himself very, very well, but Joel Roberts out in front. Joel Rhodes, sorry. Joel, get it right. Joel Rhodes from Griffith and Nassif.
Down through turn 9, mid-pack battles. It'll take a good lap or so for these riders to be able to sort themselves out. But this is the C and D grade riders, and they are the stars of tomorrow. It is their opportunity to be able to showcase their wares to the world and enjoy an extra class of racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park as part and parcel of the 2018 Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship.
Good opportunity for them, Lance, as a standalone race to put themselves in front of the World Wide Web viewing platform. Unveiling some great up-and-coming Australian talent.
Absolutely. Mark Nassif, as you mentioned, has got a great start. He's up into third place at the moment. And just ahead of him is Tim Griffiths and Joel Rhodes, who are battling it out for the key first place as they head out of turn 3 for the run-up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au hill and down into Dunlop. Griffith in... Oh, we've lost him, Joel Rhodes.
Yep.
Unfortunately lost the front end there on the inside of turn 4 Dunlop. He's a little bit winded. It'll take a second or two for him to catch his breath by the looks of it, Dave. He may have even injured his right wrist the way that he fell. Seemed to block him. In the meantime, we've got a good battle between Hamish McMurray and Mark Nassif, which will now be for second and third place on the road. Here's a replay now of what happened with Rhodes. He just got it up onto the ripple strip just a little bit too far, too close. The bumps unsettled the Pathway Communications Bike Biz Yamaha R1. Not too much damage done by the looks of it to either rider or bike. Superficial on both occasions, we hope.
So it's Griffith, McMurray, Nassif, Spiak, Molina, McCartan, Smith, Appleby, Masters and Mahone in the top 10.
Yeah, Mary Molina doing a great job. Look at this, the 35.
That was Aaron Smith.
Inside Aaron Smith.
Wow. Gee. That was really shaking, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Yeah. That's a battle for, what is it, fourth spot, 6th and 7th?
Yep. Molina's still sitting there in 5th position. And job there on machine number 93 as they come down through races.world.
Down races.world into the final 2 turns on this circuit. Shark Leathers. This is lap 3 of 6 only, half race distance. The 119 of Appleby. Lee Appleby doing a great job there in the on the Superbike Source Racing Wagner Group Services Roofing Sports Market Kawasaki ZX-10R. And here comes that 4-way battle again. Looking to maximise the opportunity of slipstreaming. Unable to do it. There was Smith on 35. Mary Molina right behind. Gets a good drive out of turn 1 down to turn 2. Can she outbreak them? Smith going wide. Molina trying to chop up the inside. Almost ran into the back of Smith that time around. In the meantime, it's Appleby that's maximised that opportunity and consolidates this 4th place battle.
Over bikebiz.com and down over the bikehaggle.com.au bridge.
Griffith and McMurray battling it out for the lead at the moment. Nassif, Spicack, Appleby, Smith, Molina and McCartan involved in a 4-way battle. Then we go to Masters, Edza, Mahone, Fairley, Chapman, Irwin and Rhodes rounding out your top 15. Look at this, drives to the outside, then comes up to the inside, manages to keep it all nice and straight and upright. And does the job, gets up the inside.
Yes, he did that nicely, Lance. Down through bikebiz.com.au, that tight left-hander that leads them back up to the bikehaggle.com.au hill.
Up over the top of the hill and down into Dunlop.
But our leader, looking very, very smart, coming down through Shark Leathers for the last time, is number 18, Tim Griffith. And he will go on with that last sweeping left-hander to negotiate. And now straightens it up for the run down the hill in the Hi-Tec Oils straight. and gets the checkered flag.
BC Performance Tag Avionics, Coolman Logistics, Kawasaki ZX-10R mounted Tim Griffith takes it out in a relative canter. Second place will go to Hamish McMurray on board the 6 weeks from Sunday Kawasaki ZX-10R. Third place will be taken by Spicac on board machine number 42, the Spicac Transport BMW S1000RR. Followed home by Mark Nassifley, Appleby, Aaron Smith, Daniel McCartan, Mary Molina. The first of the ladies, Andrew Edzer in 9th, and P10 goes to Craig McMasters.
I chased down Joel. I don't know what happened to him. I think he came off at 4 in second lap maybe. I saw him over there and went, oh. So he looks like he's right. He's walking around, so that's fine. Quick shout out to my sponsors, BC Performance, Kelvin for setting the bike up over the last year and a half actually. Tag Avionics and Coolman Logistics, they've all helped me get here, and it's going really well.
Right now, it's time for the Matris Dampers Supersports and AM Sport 600s. With last year's champion Sam Lambert moving up to the Premier class this season, it will be open warfare as the sport's rising stars fight it out for the coveted top prize. Speaking of young guns, Becky has caught up with last year's runner-up, Hayden Spinks.
Hayden Spinks, this year you're back in the Supersport category for 2018, but take me through the final parts of 2017. What do you think was a clincher at the end of there?
Well, at the end of the year last year, we had a round with double points, and the double points really played into our favour. We had one of the riders who I was up against have a crash on Saturday, and I just managed to make the right decisions and pull out the race wins when I needed to get second in the championship.
So 2018 is going to be a big year for you. If you've got the number 2, you want to step it up to number 1. How are you going to get there?
Yeah, well, without Sam in the championship this year, I feel like we're one of the top riders in the competition, so we're just going to have to use our speed in the races and pull out race wins where it matters.
And you had a great day yesterday pulling out some great times for yourself, but 2018, and this is your home track, and you've got clearly an advantage here, so how can you play it to the best of your ability?
Well, in the races today, I'm going to keep a level head and not make silly mistakes like I did yesterday. I just had a few track run-offs and experiences with the grass, which put me a little bit further down the field than I wanted to. So today we'll just keep a level head and go out and win the 3 races we've got in front of us.
We pick up the action with race 3, but first let's have a look back at the opening 2 races. Despite starting from pole position, Hayden Spinks lost out in the drag race to the first corner by Callum Barker. The Suzuki rider would hold on to his nerve during the opening lap, despite intense pressure from Spinks, Ryan Sellon and Grant Davis, the latter moving up from the AM Sport 600s. By lap 2, Spinks carried plenty of momentum approaching Bike Biz turn 2 and shot past Barker to claim the lead, only for Barker to claim the lead back again in a classic switchback move. It also allowed Sellon to jump up into second place aboard his Kawasaki, but that would be short-lived as last year's runner-up moved back into second a lap later. Sellon would hold on to third spot for the next couple of laps until he went extremely wide at Races World Turn 9 and lost a few positions, allowing Davis and Brian Horton to move up the order. Despite closing in on the Suzuki in the dying stages, Spinks was unable to reclaim the race lead from Barker as the Queenslander took out the opening Sunday race. Spinks settled for second, whilst David finished a creditable third. The Supersport and AM Sport 600 field returned around lunchtime for the second race on the Sunday program, and once again it was Barker that got the whole shot entering turn 1, followed by Spinks and a fast-starting Stephanie Redmond, who started the race from 4th position. As Barker and Spinks cleared away into the battle for the lead, Redmond was facing immense pressure from Sellon, Davis and Horton. She was holding her own strongly before going wide at the final turn and allowed Sellon to move up into third place. A few corners later, she would regain the final podium spot, whilst a few places behind her, Brian Horton had a real heart-in-the-mouth moment as Davis came across the front of his Yamaha at Bike Biz Turn 2 whilst defending 5th place. Davis then attempted to move up to 4th at Matris Dampers Turn 6, but overcooked it and went straight ahead, dropping back to 6th. Working his way up was Lincoln Gilding, who passed Redmond at Turn 5 in the dying stages of the race. Whilst back at the front, Barker once again held off Spinks to take back-to-back wins. Gilding fended off a hard-charging Redmond to claim 3rd place. So here's how they'll line up for the 3rd and final race of the weekend. The first 3 rows consist of the Supersport class, with Callum Barker on pole by virtue of his Race 2 win. Alongside him is Hayden Spinks and Lincoln Gilding. Row 2 is Ryan Sellon, Brian Horton and Grant Davis, and on row 3 it's Anthony Quinn, Stephanie Redmond and Brodie Maloof. The next row comprises of the AM Sport 600s, with Brad Glennon leading the way with Robbie Tesoriero and Brian Bolster alongside. Adrian Pellegrin, Mary Molina and Daniel McCartan occupy the 5th row, with Mark LeBroy, Brooke Ernest and Matthew Franco completing the 6th row. This is proudly brought to you by Matris Dampers. It is the 3rd and final race in the Matris Dampers Supersport and AM Sport 600 category. In the starters' hands now, getting a good start, our pole sitter Callum Barker. A good start there by Stephanie Redmond as well. A little bit more circumspect than she was in race number 2.
A better start, if any, Lance.
She certainly did. Yep. Here we go with Hayden Spinks around the outside. Callum Barker on the outside of Hayden Spinks now. Lincoln Gilding, Ryan Sellen, they're all up there. Up the inside, I think, of Hayden Spinks. Yep. No, Callum Barker.
Callum Barker got bumped there and had to sit up straight. Wow, okay, sorry.
Hayden Spinks, you could hear him, the angst in his voice after the interview of race number 2. Wasn't very happy with some of the tactics that were being employed by some of the riders out there, and said that what he's got to do is get out there and put plenty of clean air between he and anybody else, and he's done that so far at the moment. Up into 2nd, Ryan Sellen, Callum Barker in 3rd. Then we have Horton in 4th, Gilding, Davis, Redmond, Glenman, Robbie Tesoriero in 9th as the leading AM Sport 600 rider.
Yes, a great job being done, and Lance, I think that young Hayden Spinks can probably hear you, because that's exactly what he's trying to do, isn't it?
Lincoln Gilding there, a great ride around the outside of one of his competitors. I think you'll find it might have been Horton.
Yes.
Puts himself up one further in the field.
Okay, and still sitting back there in 3rd spot is Callum Barker. So he hasn't been able to get up into that 2nd spot. He cannot afford to let Spinks get too much further in front, because he'd be very, very hard to track down from there. They're only just coming around to complete the first of their 6 laps. But Hayden Spinks' intentions are clear. Clear out, get out front as far as he can, and let the others play catch up. Doing that nicely too. So we've still got Ryan Sellen in 3rd. Ryan could be a bit of a handful for Callum Barker to get past.
He could be, because I think there's a fair amount of anxiety involved in all of this.
Yes. Yep.
Let's have a replay here of that manoeuvre, as I mentioned, on Gilding up the inside of Horton.
Nice. Yep.
A really good manoeuvre, safe around the outside of him through shock treatment hill, and giving him the inside run on the entrance to races.world.
At this stage, it's Hayden Spinks on the West Sliders Newcastle cheapest cars, Kawasaki ZX6R, leading by, what would that be, Lance? 4 or 5 bike lengths perhaps from Ryan Sellen and then Barker.
Yeah, half a second lead or thereabouts.
Okay. Yep.
Barker it is, it's trying very hard on the Suzuki behind Sellen's Kawasaki.
Yep.
And he's trying as hard as he possibly can, but doing a great job as Hayden Spinks.
Good solid ride from Hayden.
You've also got to take into account at this stage, as they're completing on their lap 2 of 6. It's a relatively short race, but they are on controlled tyres. They only have a certain amount of quality, as Barker there poked his nose up the inside of Sellen at the end of the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. Was he able to continue on with it? No is the answer, as he's now trying to get himself into the braking area. This 3-way battle for 3rd place, not that far behind him. What I was getting at, tyre preservation comes into it. So you've got to look after those tyres. It may well be a case of Hayden Spinks just doing that, managing his tyres well. He knows he's in front. He knows he's going to have pressure put on him, especially in the latter part of the race. So don't overcook those tyres too early.
Yes, let the get the brake that he's got now, and let the others up the ante, force the pace, and perhaps thread their tyres just a little bit more while he plays silly buggers out in front, so to speak.
Yeah, well, there's no silly buggers being played throughout the back of the pack, because they're all enjoying themselves.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that, as our race leaders head around the back of Shock Treatment Hill.
It'll be frustrating for Callum Barker at this stage. He can't get past Hayden Spinks. He's down the inside now, but again, nice tight line there by Hayden Spinks to keep the line blocked. And number 23, Ryan Sellen, he's keeping Barker at bay. And Barker's got a bit of a problem now with Gilding. Gilding's come right up onto his back wheel.
I was going to make mention of that. Yeah, Gilding's doing a good job. Lincoln Gilding on the PMD Racing Northern Volts Kawasaki ZX6R. He's just been patient, playing the game of watching, waiting, concentrating, again preserving his tyres, making sure he's going to be strong in this second half of the race.
Here's the lead now. Lincoln Gilding is now right.
Barker out of the seat. Wow. Almost had his backside, trackside quite literally there, Callum Barker. Wow.
How did he not end up sliding? So Gilding has now gotten up in the fourth. This is going to make Callum Barker's job even more difficult to catch up. In fact, looks like he might just be just sitting there in fourth. Let's see what happens down the...
well, I think it's a legacy of deterioration of tyres and things like that. You can see that he's very loose. He's not normally as loose as that. He's always tenacious. He's always trying hard. Here he comes up the inside now of Gilding. Will he be able to get him? Gilding stronger.
He is,
maintained his line. Ryan selling out of the turn now. Goodness me.
Same spot. Same spot.
Similar spot, yes indeed. Selin getting out of the saddle, trying hard. That puts Callum Barker back up into third, make that second. He dives up the inside now of Lincoln Gilding and takes up the running of second with a great manoeuvre.
Yep, that is a nice move. But look at Gilding coming back at him up through Matris Dampers. He's looking on the inside now. Can he squeeze down? No, he decides not to go through there. Sits back in behind our second place rider. As we look now as they come down the back.
This is a replay of Selin getting out of the saddle on the exit of bikebiz.com.au.
Almost did a 360.
He did as well. I think he frightened the living daylights out of the two riders behind them, because you could see them momentarily sit up and back off. Oh, we've got one of the riders off. He's okay. The bike's certainly not going to go anywhere by the looks of it. He'll get it up and out of the road and into safe conditions. In the meantime, Callum Barker, he inherits second place, courtesy of Ryan Selin getting out of the saddle. Barker again weaving across from one side of the circuit to the other in front of Lincoln Gilding. Here's a replay of that incident of the rider going off. That was in turn 4.
Yep. Not an unusual incident to happen there at Dunlop.
Final lap down into Dunlop, turn 4, then 5. This is Hayden Spinks in front, Callum Barker second, Lincoln Gilding third, Ryan Selin in fourth place. Out of 4, up over to the top to Matris Suspension.
Ryan looks like he's regained his composure after that near off. Same as Callum Barker's regained his too. So they're back onto racing speed, so down into races.world goes our race leader, Hayden Spinks. A very handy little lead, not over yet, as Shark Leathers to negotiate yet. Now comes into the first of the right-handers at Shark Leathers. Through there safely, now through the left-hander. Kicks it up just a little bit, then hard over onto the right again, and successfully gets through Shark Leathers turn 12, and now heads down the Hi-Tec oil straight and is going to take the win out. So a very, very good win there to Hayden Spinks on machine 2. Callum Barker will come home in second spot. Lincoln Gilding will come home in third, and Ryan Selin fourth. Then Davis Horton, Stephanie Redmond, consistent again, up into seventh. Glennon, Tesseriro, Bolster, and Pellegrin.
Yeah, it feels good to be on top of the podium again. We got a bit unlucky this weekend. We missed out on probably 4 of the 6 races. I felt like I should have been on top, so it feels good to get up here. Just going to get on top of my physical fitness a little bit, try to work towards our speed towards the end of the race. I felt like I was dropping off in the last few laps in that one, so we'll go home, train up, and look to win the next round we come to.
So Hayden Spinks and Callum Barker share the spoils after an entertaining opening round. After the break, it's all the action of the third and final race of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. Thanks for joining us here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the opening round of the 2018 Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. As we await the riders to hit the track for the final race in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, the importance of wearing leathers that are not only comfortable but protect you from serious injury is always at the forefront of every rider's conscience. Shark Leathers have been providing top quality apparel for the Australian market since 2008 and are proud supporters of the Australian FX Superbike Championship. Becky Lamb caught up with Mitchell Kuhn, who was also contesting the Shock Treatment 400 Supersports.
Mitch Kuhn, you are racing in the Supersport 400 class this year, but I want to talk to you about this Shark Leathers business that you have on the side. Take us through how it became to what it is today and why you're racing.
So my brother started racing back when he was younger. He had his accident in 2007, which put him in a wheelchair. He then talked to a few people in the hospital. A lot of people had accidents, which put him in chairs from not wearing the right gear. So him and my dad got together, decided to start the business, Shark Leathers. That was 2008, so it's 10 years since then. It's been growing and expanding since then. The last year, I've sort of come into play, taken over a bit of his role and started really focusing on the racing side of stuff and just trying to build that up and get up to the top notch and really grow it.
So take us through one more time with your Shark Leathers. We want to know how it's affected you and your family in terms of coming from where you've been 10 years ago when you started the company to now.
Well, we started the company 10 years ago in our garage at home. We then moved to a shop, which we only rented a little space, grew since then, got just expanded and doing bigger. And now we're even looking to open in another state as well, so just really expanding the business and growing it.
It's great to have an Australian-owned company such as Shark Leathers involved in the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship, and we thank them for their continued support. So Brendan McIntyre and Sam Lambert have shared the winning honours in today's program, but there's one more race to come in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. So without further ado, let's have a look at the grid. Sam Lambert, Brendan McIntyre and Simon Galloway share the front row of the grid. On row 2, it's going to be Tim Griffith, I think you'll find, yes. Ryan Yanko and Thompson. Then we have Kitchen, Quinn and Shaw on row 3. Row 4 is McMurray, Edwards and Stewart. Front row, Lambert, McIntyre, Galloway. Who will it be that gets the whole shot? Red lights out, away we go. Galloway got a good start. McIntyre poor. Lambert on the outside. Looks like he's going to swoop across and get the whole shot. So it's Galloway in second, McIntyre in third. Lambert that leads them down into bikebiz.com.au for the first of 7 laps.
Yes, he missed the start, Lance, but then gathered them up as they came through bikebiz.com.au for the first time. And this field heads around the back up out of Bike Biz, but it is Scotty Lambert, Brendan McIntyre, Simon Galloway.
Sam Lambert, not Scotty, don't get it wrong. He deserves a kudos.
He does.
Up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au hill, down into Dunlop turn 4, then to Dunlop turn 5. Sam Lambert, Simon Galloway, Brendan McIntyre. You mentioned Simon Galloway in our prelude to this on how strong he was and how good he was yesterday. He took a victory in one of the 2 races and did quite well.
He did nicely placed there in second position at the moment. Brendan McIntyre is third, Griffin is fourth, Shaw, Yanko, Thompson, Kitchen, Quinn.
Out of 8 into 9, the entrance to the run down the back straight.
The lead, Lance.
Galloway gets up there and takes the lead. On board the Chris Watson Motorcycles Yamaha R1.
Yes, Lambert's in second and Brendan McIntyre is third, Griffin is fourth and Yanni Shaw is fifth. So Simon Galloway coming down into races.world has taken the lead from Lambert. And now looks to stretch it as they head down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park, lining themselves up for turn 1 and on the run down to bikebiz.com.au.
Look out for Tim Griffith on his BC Performance tag, Avionics, Coolman, Logistics, Kawasaki, ZX10R. A good battle there, I think you'll find, with Thompson, Griffin and Yanni Shaw. Ryan Yanko in there as well.
Yanko's gone wide, Lance, coming out of Bike Biz, but then,
side again.
No pass there. He tried to make it, but it wasn't there.
In the meantime, back to the pointy end of the field. Simon Galloway now under all sorts of pressure from Sam Lambert. Lambert going narrow. Up the inside. Beautiful passing manoeuvre in Dunlop. Galloway in the meantime gets the inside run as he comes up into Matris suspension. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Galloway. McIntyre looking back there wide-eyed and ready to pounce on any mistake from either of them in front.
2 good passes there, Lance. That was world-class passing. That was really good. Simon Galloway will lead them down into races.world. And Sam Lambert right in behind him. And that was Lambert out in the dirt. out in the dirt, and that's allowed McIntyre to close up a little bit. Gee, Lambert very, very lucky to still be on that machine. Very lucky.
Yes, an altercation there that could have come unstuck and brought 2 or 3 riders down, including McIntyre, and behind him Griffith. It could have been extremely ugly for all 3 of them. You can see the Suzuki going across the bump, getting a little bit slideways there in turn 3 as he headed over the top of bikehaggle.com.au hill.
Yes, Brendan did complain a little bit about the poor condition of his tyres, so I think you're right there, Lance. He's just sitting back, doesn't have to make a move yet, although just showed the front wheel there to Lambert, just to let him know that he's there.
Out of the saddle again there, McIntyre really going for the 110%, there's no doubt about that, but conservatively, if you like. He could probably stretch the legs a little bit more, but does he really need to do it at this stage? No. As long as he's in contention, as long as he's still in contact and no further back than what he is at the moment. As you can see, these front 3 runners have dropped off Tim Griffith back there in 4th place on the BC Performance tag, Avionics, Coolman, Logistics, Kawasaki. He's a little bit lonely back there in 4th place and would love to be up there and in the fray of these front 3. But these 3 at the moment are certainly going to battle it all the way down to the checkered flag.
Class of their own, aren't they, these 3? The others are battling on to stay with them, as Simon Galloway doing a terrific job out there in front, answering every bit of pressure that Lambert puts on him. McIntyre, has he got a little bit of a gap there? Here's a chance for Lambert to get the lead back. But Galloway, can he tuck it in tight? He does.
Oh, Galloway's off there. Unfortunately, he lost the front end. He'll rue that one. He doesn't like that at all. Unfortunately for Simon Galloway, while he was leading, he was just pushed a little bit wider than he was comfortable. I don't think Lambert actually hit him.
No. Just lost the front end, I think.
Just lost the front end there because he didn't tip it in as early as he would. Oh, something's just gone off there.
Foot peg, perhaps?
I don't know. Was that off Brendan McIntyre's bike?
Well, it was that or something. It's on the track and he's hit it.
Replay again. You can see Simon Galloway. He has the racing line out of turn 1. Lambert forces himself to the inside. No harm, no foul, no contact.
Okay, there.
Then they come down into turn 2, and Galloway just went a little bit too deep and lost the front end.
Oh,
that's
very
all it
lucky that Sam didn't run over him.
Sam Lambert, all credit to him there. He wasn't worried about his bike or his own preservation. He was more worried about poor Simon Galloway in front of him with nowhere to go.
Lance, that is very unlike Simon Galloway. He very, very rarely throws it down the road. That would be one of the very few occasions I've seen him come unstuck.
He was battling it out, no problems whatsoever. There was no intention of pushing or forcing or foul riding there. It was just one of those racing incidents.
That's right, exactly
unfortunately. And then you've got a fellow competitor in front of you. All of a sudden you've got to hit the stops and try and miss him and make sure you still maintain your own upright position so you can get back out and battle it out to the end.
That was a good bit of evasive riding by Sam Lambert.
It certainly was. All credit to him for looking after himself as well as his fellow rider.
I noticed Simon must have realised how close Sam was to him, because he very quickly didn't get up onto his feet and he was getting out of there.
Yes.
But well done from Sam. Bad luck for Simon. As I say, one of the very rare occasions I've seen him sunny side up.
In the meantime, let's concentrate on what's happening back on the track in terms of action. It is Brendan McIntyre that's leading Sam Lambert, Tim Griffith. Then we have Thompson, Yanko, Quinn, Shaw, Kitchen, McMurray, Stewart, Irwin, and unfortunately for Simon Galloway, he'll take no further part in this one.
Thompson's going pretty well there in 4th place, Lance, on machine number 12.
He certainly is.
Very consistent.
Down the main straight there is Thompson. You can see him on the 12. Right behind him is Quinn on 82 and Yanni Shaw. What a fantastic effort for him for the first time out on a 1000cc Superbike.
Yep, acquitted himself very, very well.
Coming hard under brakes now, challenging onto the back of Quinn. Out of bikebiz.com.au is Yanni Shaw. On board the At1 Pro Race Suits BC Performance, Moto Hub Silkaline, Liquid Performance, Hell Australia, Kawasaki ZX-10R. I'll get it out eventually.
You will. Just noticed in the background then too, Lance, that Simon had managed to push his bike well off the line, so there'll be no need for a red flag to come in to miss any potential danger there. So that was good work from Simon.
We've had enough intervention from race control, which has been out of their control, of course, and all about safety, etc. We don't need any more of it today.
2.9 second lead to Brendan McIntyre as he will very shortly start his last lap. In fact, lines it up, just backed it off now, and comes through the last of the left-handers at Shark Leathers and starts his last lap. Comes down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight and has a good 3-second lead as he heads away on his last lap. But look at the speed that Lambert's building up as he comes down the Hi-Tec Oil straight.
Well, it's all about Brendan McIntyre. He finished season 2017 in fine style with a round victory here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Looks like he's going to repeat that performance in the opening round of this year's 2018 Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship on board his Western Motorcycle Sydney 7 Friday Rick Pobjoy Racing Suzuki GSX R1000. Down into Dunlop turn 4 for the final time. Sweeping over to the left-hand side of the tyre now, the Dunlop control tyre through Dunlop turn 5.
Even though it's a forlorn chase by Lambert Lance, have a look at his attitude on the bike. He is still pushing it at 101%. He's pushing hard. There's
his problem. It should have been 110, not 101.
Yeah, that could be right too. But no, he's still right to the checkered flag. Even though he knows that it's a forlorn chase, he's got to rely on Brendan to make a mistake for him to get up into the race lead, but he is not giving it away. He is going to run it all the way down to the checkered flag. A bit of a wobble and a wibble there from Brendan McIntyre.
Well, he knows he can't afford to back off either, because one mistake, like you've mentioned, and Sam Lambert will capitalise on that opportunity. A good run there from Griffith as well. Tim Griffith on the BC Performance tag. Avionics, Coolman Logistics, Kawasaki. He's going to finish in a very creditable third placing. But it's all about Brendan McIntyre. He takes another race victory, the knockout punch in the 3-round battle in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes of the Sunday program. Well done to him. Second place to Sam Lambert. Third to Tim Griffith. Andrew Thompson, Chris Quinn, Ryan Yanko, Yanni Shaw in 7th, Brett Kitchen, Hamish McMurray and Will Stewart rounding up your top 10 runners.
I think about lap 3, turn 4, tried a different line through there to avoid the oil trail and apexed real late with the right knee over the grass. Which can work, but I lost the slider in the process, and it sounds like a big deal, but it's kind of my gauge, and it robbed a little bit of time off me in the right-handers after that, having to try and feel exactly what angle you're at without your normal gauge there.
Yeah, no, it was really good, really tricky conditions. The track was just getting greasier and greasier, and obviously we were on our qualifying tyre in that one, and Galloway and myself were just having a really good red-hot battle, which is awesome. He was pushing me and vice versa, and unfortunately for him, he went down. We tried out braking each other, and we were just both on the limit. I could feel my bike getting ready to go, and he just let it off a little bit earlier just to get back in front, and then squeezed it on again, and he went down, and I tried to avoid him, and I missed his bike, so I tried to turn left, and then he was slowing down quicker than his bike was, and he was in front of me, and then I was like, oh no, so I had to go right, and then he slid right in front of me, and I just missed his foot, and I was stressing out, but then he got by, Tim got by, and Brendan got by, and I was like, God damn, I've got to try and catch back up.
And we've made a few setup changes today between races, and yesterday and today, and Kelvin, BC Performance, he's done all that as well. Sorted it out a bit better for me, and I've been sliding everywhere, which is comfortable until it gets rapidly uncomfortable. But I just chased them as hard as I could, and happy to be up the front on the podium.
Well, that concludes our coverage of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, Matris Dampers Supersports and Ansport 600s, and the Stars of Tomorrow standalone race as part of the opening round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. But there's still more racing to come from round 1, as we'll bring you all the action from the support categories next time we go racing.